Haru showed up yesterday with roses.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Sacha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakhanutam Sacha Om Ajnanatimmirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Gurva Bhishta Purakam Guru Ganera Shisha Sambhushitam Chinta Chinta Samastaveda Nipunam Shri Rupa Panthanudam Govinda Vidam Ujjalam Bharatanam Bhaktianuvitam Sundaram Vande Vishwa Gurum Cha Divya Bhagavad Premno Bijapradam Devam Divyatanam Suchandravadanam Balarkachelanchitam Chandranandapuram Zadekavarnam Vairagyavidyam Mudam Shri Siddhantinidhim Subhaktilashitam Saraswatanam Varam Vandetam Shubhadam Madeksaranam Nasiswaram Srīdharam Shri Siddhanta Saraswati Tividito Gauriya Guruvanvaye Bhato Bhanuriva Prabhat Gagane Gaura Sankirtane Mayavadathimingilo Daragatan Udhritya Jivaniman Krishna Prema Sadabdigahan Sukham Pradata Prabhum Tam Bhaje Namo Gaura Kishoraya Bhaktavadhutamurtaye Gaurangi Padma Vrangaya Radha Bhavani Shevine Vande Bhakti Vinodam Shri Gaura Shakti Swarupakam Bhakti Shastragya Samrajam Radha Rasasubhanidim Gaura Vajashita Vaishnaveir Vandu Vigraham Jagannatha Prabhum Vande Premabdhim Riddha Vaishnavam Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhubhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Sarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Namo Mahavadannaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tishe Namaha Jayatam Surto Pangora Mama Namatergati Matsarosya Padambhuro Radha Madana Mohano Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpadmada Srimad Ratnagara Singhasanastau Shri Gandharva Śrīla Govinda Devo Prishthadevi Sevyamano Smaram Shriman Rasa Rasarambhi Vamshi Vata Tata Stita Karshanavenu Saner Gopira Gopinatha Sristana Vandāja Tulsi Devyāya Piyāya Keshasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Pradevi Satyavatyāya Namo Namaha Athnatva Mantra Gurun Bhagavatarthadan Vyasan Jagat Gurun Natva Tato Jayam Mudiraye Jaya Saparikara Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharva Govinda Sundar Padmanam Jayastu Jai Sab Parikara Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Jupad Padmanam Jastu Soquel Vaishnava Pade Mora Namaskar Ite Kichu Aparad Naukama Oyachen Oibena Prabhu Rajata Bhaktajan Vandana Kori Amishavacharam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Sastang Dandat Pranam to all the Vaishnavas, devotees, servitors, serving worldwide at the lotus feet of Om Vishnupad, Śrila Bhaktī Sundar Govinda Dev Goswāmī Mahārāj, Om Vishnupad Śrila Bhaktī Rakshak Srīdhar Dev Goswāmī Mahārāj, and Om Vishnupad Vishwarena Śrila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Welcome to our Saturday morning Bhagavad Gītā discussion session. We have this weekly, and last week we were at a festival, so we were not able to be at your service, but we are back, and we shall begin with Lavanya Sundari and Nandakishore Prabhu leading us in kirtan, and then after the kirtan, then we will continue our reading of and discussion of Bhagavad Gītā. We're at chapter 8, Tāraka-brahma-yoga. So we'll begin from where we paused last time. So over to Nandakishore Prabhu and Lavanya Sundari, whenever they're ready.
When I grew up, I would do that.
Jai Saparika Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Ki Jai.
We'll start on page 74. You want to start? Huh? Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sanma.
Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sanma.
Bando Mui Sabadhanama Te Jaharo prasade bhai e bhavatoriya jai. Krishna प्राप्ति होय जहा होय ते कृष्ण प्राप्ति होय जहा होय ते पद्मावाक्या चित्ते कोरियायैक आरो न कोरिह मने आशा प्रसादे पूरे सर्वयासा चक्षुदान दिल जय जन्म जन्म प्रभु से प्रकाशित प्रेम भक्ति जहा होते अविद्या विनाश जाते वेद गाय जहार चरित करुणा सिंधु याधम जनार बंधु लोकनाथ लोकेर जीवना हा प्रभु कर दया दे हमारे पद छाया लोइल शरणा बदय याधम लोइल शरणा तुया पादे लोइनु शरणा अभय श्रीपाद पन्ने शरणीला আমায় দয়া করো হে আমায় দয়া করো হে বলো পতিত পাবন শ্রী গুরুদেব এবার আমায় দয়া করো পতিত পাবন শ্রী গুরুদেব এবার আমায় দয়া করো পতিত পাবন শ্রী গুরুদেব এবার আমায় দয়া করো अधम पतिता जने दया करो हे अधम पतिता जने दया अधम पतिता जने दया करो हे गुरुदेव 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 गुरुदेव
What are we doing?
Page 125. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda.
Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda.
Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Akrodha Paramananda Nityananda Rai.
Akrodha Paramananda Nityananda Rai.
Akrodha Paramananda Nityananda Rai.
Akrodha Paramananda Nityananda Rai.
Abhimana Shunya Nitai Nagare Bedai.
Abhimana Shunya Nitai Nagare Bedai.
Akrodha Paramananda Nityananda Rai.
Akrodha Paramananda Nityananda Rai. Akrodha Paramananda Nityananda Rai. Abhimana Shunya Nitai Nagare Bedai. The great personality, Lord Nityananda Prabhu, is free from anger and full of transcendental ecstasy. He wanders throughout the towns, free from false pride and arrogance.
He travels from door to door to the homes of the fallen souls, freely distributing the Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
The straw between his teeth, he begs all who cross his path, worship Lord Gaurangi, and you will purchase me.
Saying this, Nityananda falls to the ground, appearing like a golden mountain rolling in the dust.
Where attachment for such an incarnation has not arisen, Lochan Das says that such a sinful person comes and goes in the cycle of repeated birth and death.
Hari Bol. Akrodha Paramananda by Srila Lochan Das Thakur. Jai. Okay, we'll sing one more. Page 200. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Pita Barana Kali Pavana Gaura Pita Barana Kali Pavana Gaura Pita Barana Kali Pavana Gaura
Pita Barana Kali
Pavana Gaura Gaoi oi chana bhava vibhora Gaoi oi chana bhava vibhora Pita barana kali pavana gaura Pavana gaura Chitta darpana pari marjana kari Chitta darpana pari marjana Chitta darpana pari marjana kari Krishna kirtana jaya chitta bihari Hela bhavadavani vapana vriti Vapana Hela bhavadavani vapana vriti Vavani vapana Krishna kirtana jaya Krishna niviti Shreya komoda vidhu jyotsna prakasha Shreya komoda vidhu Kirtana Jaya Siddha Sarupa Ananda Payonidhi Vardhana Kirti Malayananda Payonidhi Vardhana Kirti Bala Krishna Kirtana Jaya Pavana Murti Krishna Kirtana Jaya Pavana Murti Pade Pade Prijitha Sada Pradata Krishna Kirtana Jaya Prema Vidhata Bala Krishna Kirtana Jaya Prema Vidhata Thakur Bhakti Vinoda Satma Snapana Vidhana Thakur Bhakti Vinoda Satma Snapana Vidhana Gauranga, whose complexion is golden and who is the deliverer of the fallen souls of Kali Yuga, sings as follows, overwhelmed with spiritual ecstasy.
All glories to the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. It thoroughly cleanses the mirror of the heart and is the delight of the soul.
All glories on the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. It extinguishes the forest fire of material existence and removes all material tribulations.
All glories to the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. It appears like the moon in the heart and distributes its cooling moonlight, making the white lotus of the soul's good fortune blossom and bloom. Krishna Kirtan is the Bhaktī Bilas, the beautiful pastime of devotion.
All glories to the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. It reveals one's pure identity in relationship with the Lord, even up to divine consorthood. This chanting is the real perfection of life.
All glories to the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. Krishna Kirtana causes the ocean of ecstatic joy to overflow. It is an inundation of divine love.
All glories to the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. Krishna Kirtan gives one a taste of fully satisfying nectar at every step. Ultimately, it bestows ecstatic love of Godhead.
All glories to the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. It bathes the soul of Bhakti Vinod. This chanting is a storehouse of love of Godhead.
Jai. So this is the song 1 for the first verse of Sri Shikshashtakam by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Jai.
Hare Krishna. Did you mute yours? So we were we completed verse 19. We were on 18, so okay.
Chapter 8?
Chapter 8, yes. So let's do 19. Oh. Yeah. So Lavanya will do 18 and 19, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll chant 18 and 19 and then we'll discuss. Avyaktad avyaktaya sarva prabhavantya haragame ratrayagame praliyante tatrevavakta sangake bhutagrama saivayam bhutva bhutva praliyate ratragame vasha partha prabhavatya haragame. Okay, Lavanya, would you like to?
With the coming of day, the universal progeny with their bodies, senses, enjoyable objects, and abodes are born of Lord Brahma in his waking state, and at nightfall they are again absorbed into Lord Brahma, who is known as the unmanifest.
Partha, the multitude of beings are helplessly subject to the law of karma, born again and again. With the coming of Lord Brahma, with the coming of Lord Brahma's night, they are absorbed, and with the coming of his day, they are again born.
So that cycle keeps going on. And it's said in the verse 18 that with nightfall, Lord Brahma's nightfall, then he becomes unmanifest. So, and then again, when Brahma's day starts, then everything is manifest.
The material world again.
So that's in his terms, day and night. And one who knows this cycle actually knows what real day and night is.
And the length of them is inconceivable.
Yeah. Okay, 20 and then 21. 20 and 21. Parastasmat tu bhavo nyo vyakto vyaktatu sanatana yasa sarveshu bhuteshu nashatsuna nashyati avyakto kshara ityuktas tam ahu paramam gatim yam prapyana nivartante Taddhama paramam mama. Haripriya Didi, would you like to read?
Okay, 20. But superior is left who manifests Lord Brahma. Then is another who manifests and the existence of is beginningless and transcendental to the perception of the living beings. He is not destroyed when all beings are destroyed.
Adi Prabhu, would you like to read? Number 21.
It is said to be unmanifest and the invisible proclaimed by the Upanishads to be the supreme goal between whom one does not return to this world. Know that distinction to be my supreme abode.
Destination.
A destination.
So in 20 he said superior to the unmanifest, Lord Brahma, like when the night time happens, then all entities, all creation is absorbed into him and everything is unmanifest. So he says superior to that, there is another unmanifest. Parastasmat bhavonyo vyakto vyaktat sanatana. But that unmanifest is not disturbed like at the level of Brahma, Lord Brahma, we are seeing bhutta bhutta praliyate. So it keeps manifesting, unmanifesting, manifesting, unmanifesting, day and night. He says, higher than that, that abode is mine. But it is not part of Lord Brahma's.
Which is subject to karma.
Which is subject to karma, subject to reactions, subject to exploitation, subject to birth and death, all the transformations. Cleared of all of that, there is that higher nature. Number 22 and 23. So let's do 22 and 23. Purusha sa parapartha bhaktaya labhyastananya yasyantasthani bhutani yena sarvam idam tatam yatra kale tanavrittim avrittim chaiva yogina prayatayanti tam kalam Vakshayami Bharatarushava. Okay, Lavanya.
O Partha, I, the Supreme Person, within whom all beings are situated, and by whom this whole universe is pervaded, am attainable only by exclusive devotion.
Bharatabhashab. How do you say that?
Bharatarshava.
Okay,
First is Bharat and then Arshava, Bharatarshava.
Now I shall describe to you the circumstances in which the yogi attains either liberation or rebirth at the moment of death.
Here he makes it clear in number 22 that Krishna is the Supreme Person, one without a second, within whom all beings are situated, and by whom this whole universe is pervaded. So even Brahma, Lord Brahma is a secondary creator of this universe, and in each universes there are unlimited universes. There is one Brahma in each universe, and he is pervading all universes. And then verse 23 goes on to say that now technically he's going to describe how the yogis attain either liberation or rebirth, depending on the external circumstances that are present, or they choose to leave their bodies at the time of death. Now these are highly elevated yogis. These are not
Nirvikalpa Samadhi.
Well, Nirvikalpa Samadhi is
conscious exit.
That is not, that may not be an exit, but that is complete absorption in the Absolute. Nirvikalp means without any ulterior motive or like that. So Nirvikalp. So there are different kinds of samadhis. One of them, like you said, that is Nirvikalp. Savikalp, Nirvikalp, all kinds of samadhis. So, but that's absorption. That doesn't necessarily mean exiting at the time of death. It just means absorption in the Absolute. One may be within the body, one may not be, it doesn't matter. But here it says that this is like when they exit, which means it's not like coming back. So, the 24, 25, we can do together 24 and 25. Agnirjyotirah shukla sanamasa tarayanam tatra prayata gachanti brahma brahma vido jana dhumo ratris tatha krishna sanamasa dakshanayanam tatra chandra samjyotir yogi prapya nivartate. Okay. Haripriya Didi, 23?
24?
Or is it, yeah, you read, please.
Upon leaving the body, the knowers of Brahmana attain Brahman by the path of fire, light, day, the waxing moon, and the sun's nor air ascent.
Okay. Adi Prabhu.
Upon leaving the bodies, the karma yogi reach the heavenly planet via the path of smoke, night, the waning moon, and the sun's southern ascent, that returns to the undergo rebirth.
So in 24, with the northern ascent of the sun, Uttarayana, and then Uttarayana typically used to be the equinox, coinciding with the northern ascent, which is also in the calendar called Makar Sankranti. Now there has been deviation, so those two have, the dates don't coincide because of different calendars. But if you make proper adjustments, then they should coincide. So that's the northern descent, and that actually coincides with the axial tilt of the earth. So earth is rotating, and it's also, there's a tilt of the earth. And because of that tilt, the sun seems to go 6 months northern hemisphere and 6 months southern. So that 6 months northern, when it goes northern, starting from Makar Sankranti, from that 6 months on, that's what's called the Uttarayana. And during that, if all of these parameters are met, then the yogi attains to Brahman. Then they attain to that. So it's they're not coming back. So they have been absorbed.
These are the conditions.
Yeah.
Could you explain to me the difference between fire, light in the days of the maxi moon? I'm not certain about 24. Upon leaving the body, the knower of Brahma attains Brahma via the path of fire, light, day. What is the difference between fire, light, and day?
It's the northern ascent, waxing moon, fire, light, day.
It's all calculations from material.
From material perspective, and the path is bright. Is bright.
Okay.
So as they're exiting, then it's the path which is really bright. Compared to, if you just read the next one, it'll give the difference. That path is path of smoke, night, aka dark, and the waning moon.
Inauspicious.
Not really, because they're all, in number 25, they're going to higher planets. They're going to heavenly planets.
Okay.
They're reaching heaven. That's the path that is of smoke, night, waning moon, and the sun's southern ascent. But that, when you compare it with like proper Brahman,
It says that the returns to undergo rebirth.
right? Because that heavens are within the 14 realms, within the 14 levels. So they go, they enjoy various facilities, and once their their credit points finish up, then they come back and take birth in aristocratic families or families of yogis, and then again they start from where they left off until they reach the point of that fine-tuning where they understand that I can go back again and I can enjoy again, but this cycle will keep repeating, and I have to just, seek relief from all of this once and for all. So then they're liberationists, because liberationists are typically, they're just wanting relief from birth, rebirth. They've had enough of exploitation. They just want to exit. So then they take the path of Brahman, Sayujya sort of mukti, liberation, trying to extinguish one's individuality.
But that's temporary too.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. But again, till such time that inner propensity of serving is not fulfilled, of dedication is not fulfilled, it'll be temporary. But in terms of, for the sake of explanation, this is Nirgun Brahman, this is a non-duality that they're merging into. So it's definitely higher than within the 14 worlds.
Right.
So that's why that in terms of that, it's given. But you're right, like even that is not
the ultimate goal.
Not the ultimate. So that is just maybe saying existence. So the proper internal Shakti or the internal potency is like Sat, Chit and Anand, is that is the progression, and that is how it kind of completes as going through dedication. But if you're not going through the path of dedication, then you may be Sat, but then that's it, because you've tried to extinguish your existence, so that individuality and that consciousness of individuality is really meager now at that high stage, and so you simply exist. It's just a sense of being.
But it's hard for me to understand, and it's very foreign, the concept of emerging and giving up existence, like giving up relationships, giving up happiness, giving up all these things for so long. Like even to try and do some simple meditation and clear your mind and focus on something, even something beautiful that makes you happy for uninterrupted any amount of time is very difficult. What to speak of this kind of existence. But it seems like people can stay, Jiva souls can stay in that state for a very long time.
Because time is not active at that level. So when time is not active, then one is under the impression of some sort that this is eternality, and it is, but the point is that eternality, just to reach that point is not sufficient. So you get to that point, but then again the constitutional necessity will bring you down, because there is no ananda.
Yeah.
There is no sense of fulfillment. So that necessity will bring you back again. Why? Because you cannot go any further. Since you haven't developed that dedication, you don't know anything about it, and all your lives, you have denied its existence, saying there's nothing but Brahman. There's nothing in Brahman, and Brahman is qualityless, and all those other things. But having achieved your Sayujya Mukti, having achieved that limitless expansion that the yogis feel, which is just getting in touch with your fabric, which is the fabric of the soul, and that does not mean that is the end all and be all. One is to stay there and develop further and be conscious of your individuality in that environment, and then go further, which cannot happen by the very constitution of the unit, because that's not their jurisdiction. Something from the other side has to pull them. And when that happens, then ashraya becomes the topmost priority is to surrender to that force. That is to take me and you and everyone. And unless we do that, that jiva will be their limit. They are themselves setting their limit. Because to dedicate means what? To dedicate means to give up your own conception of what is right and wrong. No.
To the ideal, dedicate.
Say like I'm confounded by all of this, and I thought this was what was maximum, and I thought I was doing this, but it's not. So I surrender. I need to surrender, and if they get that higher energy or higher agents, then they can be taken up further into the land of dedication. Otherwise not. Otherwise they have set their own limit. So even the yogis can achieve sayujya, but that is doing a disservice to yourself. To extinguish your own individuality and not consider that even in non-duality there can be exchange of rasa. That will not come in, because in non-duality per se, by their own how they define it, is like, well, non-duality means non-duality, that we're all one. So the achinta bheda bhed, which is Śrīmad Mahaprabhu saying, yes, we are all one, but we are also individuals at the same time. So unless one matures enough spiritually to accommodate that condition, like one can be in the non-dual state, yet have a relationship. So the ones in there, they go, no, that can't happen because, non-duality is non-duality. There's nothing beyond it. And notice that he says that higher level, when he says avyakta, he says that is unmanifest. From the perspective of where we're at and how we're reading this, that will be unmanifest. You will not see the spiritual sky. So we have to be developed spiritually. Then that higher nature becomes manifest. Otherwise, it's unmanifest. You understand? like Lord Brahma's night is unmanifest, that higher nature will be unmanifest. Which means you can keep trying, but nothing will happen. It'll be unmanifest. But once that dedication happens and maturity, spiritual maturity happens, then one can see spiritual sky, one can have the actual vision of absolute relativity with the infinite. Then it is possible. But otherwise, like if only Brahman exists, then actually they can set their own limit because that higher reality would be unmanifest to them. So they won't be able to. It's not like, well, show me. If you show me, then I will believe. That will not. Now you dedicate, and one has to dedicate.
You have to be qualified to see.
Yeah, exactly. And that qualification is not something intrinsic. It's grace extended, to whoever's all the dedicated. They will naturally have faith. Yes, it exists. That is there. The Vaikuntha planets are there. Then go beyond, and then yes, all of these things are manifest. And very happily, one can believe naturally, not something that blind faith that people go, no, first you believe. It's not like that. It's a natural process. It's a natural condition that happens over time with proper dedication, with proper service, connection with Mahaprabhu. Everything is clear as day.
It's like a very arrogant position.
It is.
Like even mundane, you go to even the mayor of Santa Cruz, you're going to need an appointment. You can't just demand that they appear before you or to speak of God, I'm not going to believe until you show me. It's so arrogant.
Because remember, even if they're getting into that, that existence, yet that seed of the self-centeredness is intact. It has not been uprooted. Why? Because it can only be replaced. The ego is such a thing that it is central to being a conscious unit. You can't just pluck it out. Otherwise you won't be conscious. So they keep chipping away at that, and then it gets as low as it can, and they elevate, but it's still there because of one's constitution as being conscious. That's why that ego is going to be there no matter how recessed. And the only way to actually get into dedication is to replace it with real ego. And that can come through only dedication. But that they have no conception of, or they don't want to entertain. Why? Because they're self-centered. They can't understand a wholesome life of dedication being center-centered. So that ego still remains, because you can't just pluck it out, that sense of being as a unit of consciousness. Otherwise you won't be able to define consciousness. How would you define free will then? And when they merge into, now we have become what we have become, we are Brahman. Now can you define free will? What would that mean? No. Why? Because that's all a hazy, thing that they haven't deeply been in that situation to be able to study that without, and there's no higher grace. They don't accept it because of that arrogant attitude. So that arrogance demands, or rather dictates that none of these conclusions we entertain. So they just remain where they are at best. And it's unfortunate, but what can be done? Like Mahaprabhu's interactions with so many impersonalists, and the topmost being Sarvabhaumapad, that is so informative, that is so instructional for everyone. He was the topmost, and and when he got convinced, and when he actually internally, by grace, he got totally converted to the plane of dedication, then he understood everything without anyone exerting themselves or forcing in any way whatsoever externally. So by surrendering, then he understood. So if simply one gives up that arrogance and that conceit of achievement, and if one simply hears and simply reads as what the revealed scriptures are saying, it's amply clear. It doesn't need any extra illumination. It's all right there, and it's really natural that without Ananda, how would you even begin to define and fulfillment of existence? So that kind of existence, when you're conscious of that kind of existence, first off, then you've made some progress, and that kind of thing comes. Then one understands Vasudeva Sarvamiti. When beginning of that consciousness, like I exist, and then one wants to dedicate, because then they see this is all, when I'm considering all one, all this is Vasudeva. Then they want to surrender. But those are very rare. Going through that path of Gyan, then they're coming to that, like, okay, it's all one, okay, realized. They stay there and develop further, and then Samvit Shakti starts to take over, then they get to realize that their existence as eternal, but then also at the same time they get to see the other side of the coin, which is personality. Then they go, Vasudev, this is Vasudev. Okay, then you need to surrender. Then if they do, then that absolute relativity starts. Then there is some exchange that starts. Then again, individuality blossoms. So it's, the other side, not like the sort of middle ground, liminal space is not all in all. Just because I can't see through the fog to the other side doesn't mean nothing exists. Like last night we were driving and then Nanda Kishore's like, there's so much fog, we can't see anything beyond a certain point. But I said, but then do you have faith that there is road on the other side? He goes, yeah. I'm like, okay, there you go. So all that foggy thing, that's Brahman. But so long as you stay on the road of dedication, you'll just traverse through it. And as you go through, then you will see it's clearing up. And then continue.
It's like our life lesson, just have faith, continue. Because even we're not consciously pursuing Brahman realization. We're pursuing dedication, but we have our own level of arrogance and false ego. Like you just tell somebody no and it all erupts quite easily. And it's like that constant challenge to put the false ego aside and try and see, the Lord's hand in everything. And that everything's perfect and everything's happening to help me, and it's all this is a test. I was listening to Sudarshan.
Yeah, that'll do it.
And he was talking about how, we all have some fear, but, we have to see that the Lord is behind everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that thing that we fear may come to pass.
Mm-hmm.
And it may be a horrific thing.
Yeah.
But still, there's some reason for us to go through it, some benefit. The Lord wants us to go through this experience and to have that kind of faith.
That's, again, percentage, then you're getting into what percentage of dedication and a surrender there is. 100% surrender, then...
It's like, to me, it seems like it's a constant daily challenge.
Yeah.
To see, beyond my own arrogance. If I can identify it, that's the key. Usually I just react.
That's it.
And I don't see that, ego, it's just comes on.
So the more inward we go, that's when all these things actually start to, then we only start picking things that are positive, that are helping me and not just simply putting me down or leading me to other various directions or ways. So that is very sweet. It's also called Paramhansa Dharma. So to take only the positive from the environment. So one has to, how does that shifting happen if we are reactive? If we simply react, then how will we won't be able to shift through anything that is coming to me. Then I'll all just react like, no, I don't want this situation. Or I want this situation. And things like that. One person I spoke to last week, so it was a vegan fest, but I start talking to them and I realized that they eat everything. So I said, okay, no problem. So I said, well, can you see yourself, just as we were beginning, ask, can you foresee yourself not having red meat or any of this? And they go, no. I think I have taste for it. I'm like, good. I said, I'm not going to try and convince you that this is bad or this is good. But what if you develop a higher taste where you give it up naturally? Are you averse to that? They go, no. If the taste goes, then no problem. So even someone who is not practicing can understand that if I have some higher taste, if I acquire something much higher, then, of course, you're eating for your taste. And so taste becomes most important. It's so natural. There was no philosophy needed for anything. I just asked a question. And they go, yes. I'm like, perfect, then we can talk. Because they have the necessary receptivity. It doesn't matter where they're at. And they heard and they were like, yeah, this sounds really nice. This sounds great. I'm like, perfect. You're welcome. So it's not like, hey, yo, stay away from me because
you got cooties.
So like, that yeah, like what is, I said, animals and they exist. They eat all kinds of things, and so I pet them and other people pet them. So it's their taste. No, but if something happens internal, some transformation happens, and by dint of that, we realize that, what we thought was like beast consciousness is like showing, extraordinary transformation, and they've lost taste. So that's the natural way. That's the middle path. That's dedication. That's not forcing anything. That's real grace. But the thing on the other side is like not to reject it, but if you're open to it, that's good enough. That's how grace works. No. Grace doesn't see your present qualifications, my present qualifications, or my tendencies, but it says, are you open to it? So we develop that hankering that we not just open to it, become greedy for it. Then grace will flow. That's what's required for grace. So all our practice is actually getting us to that point. That is the qualification. Objective, no qualification. Objectively, no qualification will work.
Greedy for grace.
Greedy for grace. So that hankering has to be like, that is the Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavitamati Kriyatam Yadi Kutopi Labhyate. So that what does that mean? Like, Tatra lolyam api mulyam ekalam. Lolyam is greed. No matter how you look at it, it's greed. And janma koti sukratera na labhyate. You may try to be a good boy or a good girl, like millions, tens of millions of lifetimes, it's not going to work. Because what is good, what is bad, one doesn't know. So, but that greed for grace is what, that hankering has to be for grace. I need grace. That is what I need.
It also helps develop other qualities.
Because we will look at, I will try and associate with you with the mentality that she's a trillionaire when it comes to certain service, certain activity. And I will try to, I will be attracted to that, and I will try to imbibe that. So all our interactions will be based on that. That is all positive. And I won't come to you or I won't interact with you looking at garbage or looking at things that are unwanted. Why would I want to do that? So that is uplifting everything. Uplifting myself, uplifting you and others. That is real association. Real association never aims to cut people down or in any way whatsoever. Real association means to lift up. So,
but also by that hankering for grace, we're like begging for mercy. We have to really be honest with ourselves of our own position, our own qualification. We have no qualification. Will you please give your grace to me? By being honest in that way, then we have to naturally be humble. And so we can start developing better qualities by pursuing that path.
So in that way, look, if someone is really advancing and if some negativity comes to them as someone saying things or other circumstances, then they will take it positively. Why? Because it keeps them grounded and on the path, looking for grace and not thinking that I have it.
Who are you to say that to me?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You see, so then all waves will be naturally favorable. Then any person who throws a stone or points a finger or do this or it's all positive. Yeah, I got to be careful. Why? Because I need grace. I need more. Now that is greed. So all the waves that are coming to someone who is seeing it from a mundane perspective, it thinks like, oh, those are very bad. But for that particular unit, it'll be all welcome. Yes. I will take this, I will take this, I will take this, and I will continue. And I will continue to fine-tune balance, continue. That may become selfless, they may become entirely not aware of their self. That's even better. More. That's why this is the path of progressive immortality. Not this kind of immortality, which is like extinguish yourself, in some sort of a bang and then you're immortal.
You're everything and nothing.
This is progressive, which means that central sense of being is intact. Only then there can be progressive immortality. If you try to artificially pluck that out of the equation, then there's no question of progression and immortality. You're either immortal or you're not. What do you mean by progressive immortality? It will mean nothing. Progressive immortality will present itself to only those kind of personalities who within them understand the importance of that sense of being. That it's not corrected yet. Or whatever situation they may be in, that will save them from self-annihilation. But otherwise, what is the question of progressive immortality? I had that question a long time back and slowly got answered. So sometimes there are questions, there are things, there are doubts that you can't like immediately get answers to, but you have to hold on to that. But if you're sincere, it comes. By higher grace again. Why would I want some question answered? To suit some whimsical fancy? No, I would want it so I can somehow go deeper. And if that is essential, then I will hold on to it. I will look everywhere. I will ask. I will try to tune in more to the environment and see how it comes. But it will come. If one is sincere. So that is the essence of progression and immortality. Otherwise, immortality will go, oh, now I'm immortal. There we go. Done. Let's go home.
Where's home?
On some street, some, mundane street, some passage, and that's where one will reside. Whether a palace or whether a whatever. So that's how it's so wonderful to, like, path of dedication, path of progressive immortality. It's of one has to finally see it. Everything has these fine merits. It says asato ma sadgamaya, from mortality to immortality. But this one says progressive immortality. So there's this fine reasoning behind it, that theistic intelligence that has produced this path of progressive immortality. Or it may not immediately bring anything out, but it's there in us, in our consciousness. We've let it go in.
It's curious too, it's like as you begin to make a little progress, the goal retreats, because you start to comprehend how far away you actually are. Because the path, if you're practicing properly, the path is so sweet it doesn't matter. Like even Guru Maharaj, I can't remember the context, but it was, we may never achieve the goal, but the path is so delightful it doesn't matter. And it's like, and you feel that when you're, like, just in this discussion.
Just right now.
Yeah, it's so satisfying to be with devotees in front of the deities and trying to digest these incredible teachings that we're given. And the more we comprehend it, the farther away we are, but we don't care because we're happy in this association.
That is the basis of when we get to appreciate, when we appreciate something that is not egotistically defined as mine. So let's say your words, your actions, what you say, what anyone says, if I truly begin to appreciate, then that would mean that egocentric expression that I have is actually receding, or it's getting cured. So good association is meant for that. That is what good association is for. When it says tanam mayato buddha vijetatam, go to those people who have figured this problem out, and they're trying to get to solutions for it. And they're like together. So you get into that association. So by getting into that, naturally, through osmosis and through dealing with each other positively, then that will come, that will flow. Otherwise, by oneself, so that's why, we're not putting anyone down, like yogis are yogis, they're worshipable. But yogis are loners by nature. They won't come into association, they won't discuss, there are some secrets and some techniques they will give and so forth. So like that, I'm saying in general, there may be exceptions.
There has to be exceptions, but the truth is that we're all a little vain. Vanity of vanity is all vanities.
So for the path of dedication, when we actually come out and share, so when you share is like you're opening yourself up. What does sharing mean? You have to open yourself up. Only then you can share. Otherwise, if you have guard and you have walls up, then one will not be able to share. Then things won't be received, won't come back in the proper way, and the whole exercise will be futile.
But a beginning, even futile is a beginning.
So
but the eternality of our seva, service to Krishna, as eternal servants of Krishna, there should be our coagulating point of mutual joy. Then that would keep us in this wanting this sangha more than Maya, because the taste here is so much different than what Maya produces. So our position as students, it seems to be a comfortable position. I'm happy with it.
Jai. Very nice. So naturally, from the heart, it'll come.
Yeah.
You don't have to exert.
From the heart, we don't understand it.
We don't have to understand everything, thankfully. And to not understand is also good, because that keeps us in our place as students. Like, I don't understand everything. And thank Krishna for that. But that's the sum and substance. If no artificial pretenses of any kind are required. As being ourselves and opening ourselves, sharing, and hankering more and more. So that internal, that internal thing will come out. What we internally have, then it will come out, and it will start to sort of infect everyone, and vice versa. And so that would be so nice. Like things that I never thought I would be able to accommodate in my little ecosystem, because I associated with Sharangi Didi, or now I can, and that's such a joy. And so then everything becomes very pleasant and very sweet ultimately. Then everywhere you see the hand of the Lord, the sweetness. So it's undeniable. Yeah, and that's actually humbling. So and then you get humble. Like, what can I do? I really thought I could do this, I could do that. I really can't do anything. So those things are the cornerstone of progressive immortality. Path of progressive immortality. These are such lofty things, like you leave the body at such and such and do this and do that. And then other times he goes, you simply dedicate yourself to me. and all will be good. So it's up to us to like look at, okay, what appeals to me. To the yogi, maybe, okay, you know, something else would appeal, and then they would go some other path. But that's their choice. The thing is that you carefully go through Śrīmad Mahaprabhu and associates and everyone. They when they're talking to impersonalists, they never deny Brahman. Never once have they denied. But the impersonalists, or the persons who insist that Brahman is all in all, they deny anything beyond that. They deny. They're in denial. So just from the outset, just looking at like two groups, just exchanging ideas, one is in denial and the other one is accommodating. Simply by this observation one can tell. He's saying, yes, there's Brahman. And the other one is going, there's nothing beyond it. So what you're saying actually doesn't exist. You're a sentimentalist. So just by that you can sense like, why are you denying? That's so unscientific. Have you investigated? How much have you investigated? And this other side is not saying, it's trying to harmonize. So just by how you're engaging in an exchange says a lot about your substance. And Mahaprabhu never once denied. I was actually surprised when I looked back, because initially my thing was, no, I will argue with anyone who says all of this and I will defeat them. And as Mahaprabhu did, and as his as my other teachers did, I will try and do this. But then I was like, well, wait a minute, you know, looking back, Mahaprabhu never denied it. And then I read through it again and again and again, and I'm like, this is so beautiful. He's trying to harmonize, the other has like some sort of animus and hostility because of that self-centered sense of being intact, aka the false ego. So you may touch the periphery of Brahman, yet, like Sharangi Nidhi said, it will come back for fulfillment because it's not there. Where it's there, that's where home is. That's where our home is. Dandavati Yadu Prabhu. That's where our home is. Let's do this 27 and then we can finish up. Is that okay?
Right here at the end, let's do it.
Naite Shriti Partha Jnana Yogi Yati Kaschana Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Yoga Yukto Bhavarjuna Vedeshu Yaggeshu Tapasu Chaiva Daneshu Yata Punya Phalam Pradishtam Atyeti Tat Sarvam Idam Viditva Yogi Paramam Sthanam Upaiti Chadyam Iti Sri Mahabharate Shatsahasrayam Samhitayam Vayasikyam Bhishma Parvani Śrīmad Bhagavad Gītā Supnishutsu Brahma Vidyayam Yog Shastre Shri Krishnarjuna Sammade Tāraka-brahma-yoga Namastamodhyaya. Okay. Anyone want to read?
The two paths of the world, the bright and the dark, are accepted as being perpetual. By the bright path, liberation is attained, and by the dark path, one is reborn.
O Father, the devotee Bhakti Yoga, who knows this bright and dark path, is not deluded. Therefore, O Arjuna, be ever fixed in the transcendental, exclusive devotion.
Thus knowing of my glories and the glories of devotion for me, the devoted soul, surpassing the scripturally cited fruits of piety, achieved by chanting the Vedas and performing sacrifice, austerity, and charity, attains my supreme holy abode.
Jai. End of chapter 8, The Merciful Absolute, from the conversation of Sri Krishna and Arjuna in Śrīmad Bhagavad Gītā Upanishad, the Yoga scripture of transcendental knowledge in Bhishma Parva of Sri Mahārāja, the holy scripture revealed by Śrila Vyasadeva in 100,000 verses. So, see, thus knowing of my glories and the glories of devotion for me. There we go. So there is recommendation from his side put to us as opinion, not being forced on anyone. But there is some opinion. And surpassing the scripturally cited fruits of piety by chanting the Vedas. Because all of this considers the intact false ego and tries to elevate based on that. It doesn't try to replace that with corrected ego. My supreme holy abode. One side he's saying it's unmanifest, and then here is saying that it's my holy abode. So if it's unmanifest, then how can it be all supreme abode? But depending on the relative vision, it's not manifest. It becomes manifest with the degree of surrender and dedication as one goes, and that is the path of progressive immortality.
So, for clarification, the knowing the glories and the glories of devotion for me, the devoted soul surpassing the scripturally cited fruits of piety. And does this next part mean which those fruits of piety are achieved? By chanting the Vedas and performing sacrifice, austerity, and charity. So by knowing about devotion, one surpasses all of that and attains my supreme abode.
That's the only way. That's the only way. Otherwise, austerity, sacrifice, charity, going by the proper Vedic methods, methodology, processes, will ultimately be aimed at benefiting who?
The ego.
There you go.
Gain fruits of piety.
So who gains?
The individual.
Who gains? So long as that is there, one may be elevated to liberation, they will still come back.
It says it all in the first part, one who understands the glories of devotion for me, the devoted soul. So if one is actually living in that mood of devotion, then all automatically surpasses everything else.
Then all these conclusions will be manifest. It's not like one has to like read everything. It'll just be manifest. It's something natural.
The Lord said, Christ said, come as a child, lest you cannot enter. And sometimes I see the logic of that so perfectly, because our sophisticated analysis and how does it occur to me, what's this being said, I'm still trapped in me. It's terrible. But a child is always joyful at learning something, and one knows right away when it's good and when it's bad. So our innocence carries us.
So one good person, that's so apt. One good person that we met last week, they were like, well, this is all so nice and excellent. I would like to tell my mother about this. I've tried to do this in the past, but they completely resist, and so I need it in this language, and I'll need all of this. And then they asked me, like, is that how I should do it? I said, no. They went, what? I said, no. I said, you try to be all good and all devoted, and when they will see you, they will become automatically. You don't have to force, because they're like into medical field and they're going through a lot of, so their method of education, the mundane method of education is to force feed. Everything is force fed into the brain, intellect, and awareness. I said, this is quite the opposite. Factually, this is unlearning. So you simply have to get rid of or unlearn all these misconceptions, and then automatically everything will be manifest. And there, we could see that they're like, oh, that's perfect. And they said, well, someone was with them who was pretty conversant with Srila Govinda Mahārāj and Srila Srīdhar Mahārāj's conception. And they looked at them and go, that's what they told me. I'm like, okay. So I said, you're hearing it from multiple sources, the same kind of thing, and does it resonate with you? Well, yes. I said, okay, so then consider that good advice at least. That's coming from multiple points, and nobody's wishing ill for you. So, like that, I mean, why don't you try to be the change that you want to see happen? Like, I see the world like this. Why don't you yourself be that change? And then see what happens. Rather than trying to, I want to get into a situation where I can do this and blah, blah, blah. No, that's the mundane way.
We always want to fix others according to our vision.
Yeah. So that's the vision of the false ego. And to always judge from that perspective. But anyway, I mean, we are recommended to go the other way. But easier said than done, but work in progress. So with this, the 9th chapter actually is really, it's the Raj Guhya Yoga, hidden treasure of devotion. Now we're getting to the real substance. first 8 chapters and now the 9th chapter. So we'll begin that next time.
Yeah.
And so long as we keep sharing what we have without our own considerations or our own ego, if we keep sharing it, at least I have felt that more comes to me. So tangibly I could feel like that. To be able to share in all circumstances. So to what degree depends, but I'm no one to judge, but to be able to share. Of course, not to share with just any mundane person with a deviant mentality that they'll take everything. But among devotees and among shares, whatever it is. Hari Bo.
Thank you.
Jai. Thank you. Jai Om Vishnupad Śrīla Bhaktī Sundar Govinda Dev Goswāmī Mahārāj ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Śrīla Bhaktī Rakshak Srīdhar Dev Goswāmī Mahārāj ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vishwarenya Śrīla A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Acharya Vrinda ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Seva Ashram Soquel ki jai. Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Ji ki jai. Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. All the assembled devotees ki jai. Sri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Nittai Gaur Premanande. Hari Bo.
Śripad Jairam Prabhu ki jai.
Yeah.
Switch off.